I always knew I'd get back into model airplane flying again, but I wasn't sure when. When I started working at the city of Winona, I met a guy that was into RC car racing. He sold me a used RC-10 car. I raced cars on a carpet track and then a packed clay track for a couple of years. On occasion I would win in the novice class, but I never got real serious about it. Since I was invested in RC equipment again, and the racing had ended in Winona, I decided to buy a new RC system for model airplane flying. I joined the local model airplane club and tried to fly without help the first time after 10 years. I crashed in the top of a tree on the first flight. After that I had help for the first few flights before the skill came back. When I joined the Winona Aero Modelers, the club flying field was 10 miles into Wisconsin. The club field was moved to the top of a hill near Winona on land owned by the county. A great deal of work was needed to make the field suitable for flying. Being on the top of a hill, the wind could make flying tricky. For many years, the Winona Air Modelers had a wonderful fun fly event at the Winona Airport. Modelers came from clubs 100 miles away or more. Really some impressive planes such as turbine-powered jets and multiple engine scale planes. After flying globe-powered RC planes for a while, I wanted to try something different. After losing a Sig Cub rubber-powered free flight to a thermal, I wanted to try more free flight and RC sailplanes. Someone at the RC field that saw me flying the Sig Cub told me of a local man that was really talented at indoor free flight, Floyd Richards. I called Floyd and he had me building a simple indoor plane. I told Floyd about wanting to try RC soaring, and he sold me an electric-powered sailplane and gave me another sailplane that I launched from a high start. Floyd had other sailplanes, and we flew together often on Saturday mornings. I also found a group of guys in La Crosse, Wisconsin flying sailplanes, and I flew with them also. After getting back into RC model airplane flying again, I purchased almost every major brand of RC system. I also joined the MRCSS Model Sailplane Club and was introduced into slope soaring. One time we were flying in wind over 50 miles an hour. Pat Bowman, the designer of the JW Flying Wing, is de-essing my JW for the first time. The winter of 2001, Al Nephew and I traveled to Arizona for a large thermal duration contest, the Southwest Classic. There were about 200 pilots, but maybe about 15 in the 2-meter class that Al and I flew in. At the end, it came as a real surprise that I was third and received a trophy mug. As I got better at RC thermal soaring, I tried RC hand-launch sailplanes. Throwing overhand, it did not get very high, but it was possible to catch low-level thermals and climb to altitude. For several years I went with La Crosse guys to Madison for a yearly contest. For the Science Olympiad in schools and the Right Stuff event, I built some Right Stuff model airplanes. The high school in Menominee, Wisconsin had a student in the Right Stuff event, and I traveled the 140-mile round trip a couple of times to help him. I helped a science teacher friend several times with building and flying rubber-powered model airplanes as part of lessons. I was reading an article in Model Aviation magazine 2006 that described a summer program for girls 12 years old at the UW Stout in Menominee based on building radio-controlled sailplanes as a manufacturing process. I was interested in sailplanes at the time, and the idea of using model planes in a setting such as this was interesting. I emailed the director of the program, and he invited me to come over for a day to observe. After seeing the foam glider with RC equipment that could be easily transferred between planes, I came up with my own design electric-powered RC plane that had the power and RC equipment in a removable unit. I returned to Stout to demonstrate, but they had decided to build RC boats with a really cheap RC unit that the student could take home. I did demonstrate this plane and other planes to Winona State University Composite Engineering class. I was a guest of the AMA Education Group at a teacher's science convention in Cincinnati, Ohio. In 2011, AMA sent me this award. I did several demonstrations of model airplanes, often connecting it with the aviation history. I did some real short-term classes with kids, like for community ed and park and recreation. Besides model airplanes, I also held classes for kites and water rockets. I traveled to Madison, Wisconsin a couple of times to teach classes to teachers in after-school programs. The first time was a class in mousetrap cars, and the next time was on building foam model airplanes. My greatest opportunity for model airplane classes with kids was in a summer program at local Winona State University known as College for Kids. The first years it was model airplanes, but in later years I added other projects such as model solar cars, windmills, mousetrap cars, and water rockets. The program has ended after 30 years. I taught it for several years. I received an email from a middle school student looking for help with a Science Olympiad event known as Wright Capacitor. The rules spelled out specifications for airplane and a certain capacitor. I ordered a couple capacitors, designed a model plane, and by postal mail I sent her a simple rubber-powered kit so she could start getting some building experience. I flew my capacitor plane outdoors and then sent pictures of it so the student could try to design something similar. She made several planes, some by modifying kits, some were scratch build. I received an email from the girl's mother that said, "You've been helping my daughter with Right Stuff event, and thanks to you, she did very well at the National Science Olympiad 2011, placing 6 out of 61 state teams from all over USA. The daughter would study aviation in college and had an internship at Boeing. It was a long path before participating in outdoor free flight contests. I built a P-30 model and only made test flights on hand winds. I built a discus free flight glider that I flew in small sights until it drifted into a cornfield when the DT failed. I installed electric E-36 equipment in a half-A Starduster and flew it for months before putting the equipment in a Pearl E-36 I built. After online friend Hank Spurzel had suggested enough times that I should come to the Free Flight Nats, in 2016 I went for the first time with Dave Edmondson from Minnesota. I ended up writing the Nats newsletter because of a family emergency for the original writer. It was a good chance to meet people as I interviewed them. I also went to Minnesota free flight contests. I built an Allegro Light 2-meter sailplane designed by Dr. Mark Drella. Building the wing that is sandwiched between balsa, carbon, and Kevlar was a challenge, but I completed the build and it flies great. I found a small ridge to practice dynamic soaring. This spot does not work well for foam gliders like my Super Scooter, but it's pretty good for fiberglass gliders. At first I could only make a few circuits, but with practice I was able to do over 100 continuous circuits. Dynamic soaring is flying the calm side of a slope with a sharp ridge and getting energy by flying through the boundary layer between the wind coming over the ridge and the calmer air on the backside of the hill. Thank you for watching my model aviation autobiography. It could have been much longer, but I think this is a pretty good sampling of what I have done with the hobby.